West Ham have signed Kante, question mark, Sloth? Kante? Not the Kante, of course. It's Mohamadou Kante. Not the N'Golo Kante, although we have been linked with him this summer quite a lot. Paris FC youngster, 18 years old, soon to be 19 years old in September. Kind of came out of the blue. It looks like we've signed him and he's going to be loaned back to Paris FC for the first season. And then I guess the plan is to develop him and integrate him into the first team squad after that, if possible. What are your thoughts on this? Because we can't really do our standard breakdown videos with the data because there actually isn't the data to show you guys. But I know you've done a little bit of research around Kante and the type of player he is and why we're doing this. So talk to me about Mohamadou Kante and why we're signing him.
Well, I basically put out a call to arms to anyone who follows me or anyone who because I have quite a good chat with a lot of people around Europe who just like football, and we like talking about young footballers, young talents coming through. It's always fun. But I know absolutely nothing about Kante, or I didn't know anything about Kante. And this is exactly the kind of deal that I think a lot of people wanted Tim Steidten for. You know, he had that reputation as a pearl diver. And I think that when you look at this kind of low cost, high potential player, this is exactly what we wanted. And, you know, he's about 5'9", but as you mentioned, at just 18, nearly 19, he's already got quite a lean and muscular frame. But he's beyond that, I didn't know much. So I did have to rely on a lot of people helping me out. And we posted a little thread on Babbling about it. I gave a shout out to the person who sent me one of the absolute screamers that he scored with his right foot. Mm-hmm. And apparently he does like a good shot.
Yeah, definitely check that thread out on our Twitter if you haven't seen it. But yeah, sorry, go on, Sloth.
Right. But it's something where I very much relied on other people telling me about it, because my VPN and my football subscriptions can only go so far. And
you should be out there. You should be out there in France scouting these players. Stuff. Come on.
Oh, I'd love to be, wouldn't I? I'd be a bit more tanned if I was. But he's someone who hasn't played much for the. Well, he hasn't played at all for Paris FC's first team, which I know might not fill a lot of people with confidence. But when you're dealing with an 18-year-old, I think it's best to kind of just talk about the raw assets that they possess. And, you know, this sort of lean, muscular frame, incredibly high work rate, and a rocket of a shot are not bad foundations to build upon.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, by the time this video goes out, it may already be finalized. Do you think this is a Tim Steidten driving move then? You know, we mentioned the little jokey comment there about the pearl diver and finding these hidden gems and, you know, some of these talents that would completely go under the radar if not for someone like Tim Steidten. So do you think he is the main driving force behind this deal?
If he isn't, it will be someone from his recruitment team. And, you know, whether that's Maximilian or whoever it is, it will be someone that has taken a very data-led approach, because I think, you know, you're dealing with someone who's played under 1,000 minutes of football for this Paris FC under-19s. But from his position, he has 3 goals. And the sort of feeling that I was getting from talking to people, where they were saying about how much distance he covers, the pace with which he does it, and the amount of tackles he puts in, that is something that the sort of data-led approach will really lend itself to.
Do you think he's a more defensive-minded midfielder, or if we were to compare him to, say, someone in the current West Ham team, who do you think he's most like? I know it's very difficult for us to say, having never really seen much of the player play, but based on those kind of credentials and assets and attributes that you've mentioned when you've been in discussions with other people, who would you most like compare him to from the West Ham squad right now? This video is sponsored by Emotive. Emotive provide cutting-edge digital services, solutions, and training to companies and businesses of all sizes. Emotive have worked with some fantastic brands in the past, as you can see behind me, the likes of Apple, Google, Tesco, and of course, Babbling Irons. Emotive offer 4 key services, the first being digital solutions, the second being professional training and coaching, the third being fractional experts, and the fourth being AI readiness. We're going to be working with Emotive on our channel to improve how we showcase the data to you guys in our breakdown videos and data analysis videos. If you want to find out more information about how Emotive can work with you, make sure to scan the QR code now, which will take you to emotivetouch.com, where you can find out more details about the company, and the link will be in the description. A massive thank you to Emotive once again for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it.
I think at the moment there's not really anyone in the squad who has that sort of box to box but defensive mindset, and it's something that we've both cried out for quite a long time. But from what I was hearing, I'd say it's someone like sort of Mo Diarmi, someone who's incredibly athletic, very powerful, gets stuck in, and will cover a lot of ground. And I think that it's very difficult to, as I say, like give any proper insight in terms of how they play technically, because that's something that you can only really pick up from watching multiple games. And it's anyone can score a wonder goal, and I think it's incredibly important to stress that we're not going to leap to any conclusions without hopefully a bit more first team football as well, because under 19 second division doesn't exactly fill you with confidence when you think about the opposition level. But the raw sort of information that we were given lends itself to perhaps taking that step up and being able to refine it. And like his namesake, Kante, that is someone who, was in the French second division till quite a late stage in his career, and then just was able to step up and, go to the very, very highest level because of the sort of player he was.
Does the intent behind this signing excite you almost more than the profile of the player themselves? Because we don't really have that profile to get excited about right now. As you mentioned, we haven't got a data set of watching him play, or we haven't got like 5 games where we've been able to find the data and actually watch his performances. But does the type of signing that Tim Steidten is trying to make here, and the emphasis on finding these talents from, as you say, the French under-19s Ligue 2 is quite a specialty. It's definitely it's diving deeper than we ever have really done before in terms of recruitment. So is it the intent and the purpose of this signing that also kind of excites you?
Yeah, and I think that one thing that was really apparent when I was talking to people is that they were saying he's very highly regarded. It's not a case of he's had he's scored that goal and people have gone, oh wow, what a player. Yeah. This is someone who's clearly been working and performing at a consistent level. And I think when you look at exactly the sort of thing that we want to be doing, and look at Brighton's recruitment model, where they signed someone like Moses Caicedo, who came from a league that many might write off just because it's not within Europe, or it's not the most glamorous, well-known league, and came over for a very low sum. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to have anywhere near the impact, but when you look at the ability for the club to make profit on these sort of deals, that's key. And it's what has allowed us to spend so much in terms of selling Declan Rice, but also it's what has allowed Brighton to spend so much going forward with the repeated profit they turn over.
Got it. Yeah, I think it's almost as well, if you look at it the other way, it's not the same, because the Premier League, West Ham's academy is obviously in the Premier League, and the talent we're pulling through in our under 23s and under 18s teams are, there's a higher level of expectation there comparatively to what you're seeing in, Ligue 2 under 19s with Kante. But it's almost like someone coming over from a different European club, say, I don't know, a Juventus or whoever, and looking at West Ham's under 18s or under 23s and saying, actually, Lewis Orford, we should probably try and sign him now. Or, even someone like George Urphy, like picking those types of players out too. So those fans, they don't have any idea really about that type of player. And it's someone that you're signing not for an instant impact, but you're signing because of the potential development and the future of that player. So look at it that's how I look at it anyway as a fan. It's, you know, we're very much data driven on this channel, and we will always back up what we say with data. But sometimes Tim Steidten might pull some of these from up his sleeve, and you know, it's now up to us to kind of back the signing and back the process of what we're doing. And it may be, you know, in 2 years' time, he could be a regular starter for West Ham. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But final thoughts on it, Sloth, in terms of the type of signing as well. It's another central midfielder. Do you think it's a needed signing in terms of recruiting for the future?
I think that when you look at the profile of the player and the, you know, how highly he's regarded, I think it's one that for the money, you say that's the sort of business we should be trying to do. And, you know, he might never play for West Ham. And it's important to stress that, because a lot of people will be thinking of it, you know, he might never play for West Ham. But if he has a good season and someone comes in with a £3 million bid, or, you know, he's loaned out again and performs there, then his value rises and you automatically turn a profit. And it may not sound like much, but it's important for the books of the club. And I think that when you're signing this sort of youth player, when you're talking about young players, it's incredibly hard to judge the trajectory of their career, because anything can happen. It can be injuries, you know, it can be their own personal circumstances, like we've seen at West Ham, that let young players down. But it's very hard to gauge. But the thing that excites me about this deal is that these are the kind of signings that I want West Ham to be looking at. And all too often in the past, we've missed out on. Kante is a very good example, where we nearly signed him and, you know, fumbled the bag, and he went on to be a Premier League winner. And I think it's good to see that we're willing to make these moves and take these chances for very low risk, but on a player who fits the mold, fits that energetic but also strong and young profile.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a really good point to mention about the business aspect. You know, not everything a football club is doing is for the starting 11. It's, you know, there's a lot more to a football club, because, you know, it is a business these days, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. And as you say, signing him now, he may have a couple of really good loan spells and be worth, you know, 2 or 3 times the value we sign him at. So again, it's small things like that happen behind the scenes. And again, he may be an absolute fantastic signing, and he may go on to prove everyone what his capabilities are as a midfielder. And, you know, we just have to give that time and see how he does. I'm sure we'll be trying to watch as much Paris FC under 19 matches as we possibly can this season if he goes back on loan there, but probably going to be difficult with your VPN even so, Sloth. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Let us know down below in the comments what you think of the signing of Mohamadou Kante from Paris FC. Kind of came out of nowhere, and yeah, as I say, apologies, there isn't much data to go through in this video, but yeah, we tried our best. And, you know, massive shout out to you, Sloth, for getting that information. So yeah, make sure to leave a comment down below, leave a like on the video as well if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more content, and Sloth, until the next one,
come on, you eyes.